All right, take two of the Big Talker Online. I tell you what, we're just going to do it all again. Now that we have internet, now that we have connected established, we can now welcome you, wake you up. I don't want any of those, you idiot. Thank you very much. Oi. One little internet bomb and everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Isn't that amazing? Well, I got news for you, kids. It's about to happen to you. That's right. I'm trying to find the rest of that story. So apparently, Starlink, our internet guru guys, lost a number of satellites yesterday. Let me see if I have this right. Space storm. You think the weather we had here on Earth was pretty bad. SpaceX lost like 40 of their satellites, right? An entire launch's worth of Starlink satellites after a storm created by the sun struck the Earth's atmosphere. The company launched 49 Starlink satellites on February 3rd, but up to 40 of the satellites will be lost due to the geomagnetic storm. Now, it's not public record how much money is spent on the cost of satellites or launches, but this losing the majority of the mission could be a financial hit upward of $50 million based on statements from company leadership. It's pretty brutal. So, yeah, maybe it's Starlink, maybe it's Spectrum, who knows? But whatever it was, that was very, very frustrating. I will let you know. Just putting it out there. That little glitch, and I'm off the air for 10 minutes. That was frustrating. We'll come back to that story because that's not the first story I wanted to hit. The first story I wanted to hit was these Mensa candidates who decided to visit North Carolina from Tennessee. Apparently, the Sullivan County Jail in Blountville, Tennessee, held three people that wanted to go out and get out and visit their friends here in North Carolina. Yeah. So apparently 2 of the inmates who escaped from the Tennessee jail were killed in a police chase in North Carolina after they allegedly robbed a store and stole a man's car. They died in a crash in Brunswick County, North Carolina, following a police chase. No tears. The 3 inmates escaped from Blountville jail at about 400 miles from where the crash occurred. So the 2 guys, Harbour and Tobias, who had been jailed on a second-degree murder charge, allegedly committed an armed robbery at a convenience store in Sneads Ferry, North Carolina, south of Wilmington. I'm not sure they got their topography right, but we'll just let that one slide right now. The convenience store early Saturday morning. A store clerk told police the robbers tied him up at gunpoint, emptied the cash register, and took off in his car. While the victim, get this, this is the Mensa part. This is how you know these guys are brilliant. While the victim was being interviewed by police, he spotted the suspects driving by in his car, setting off the chase by officers from several law enforcement agencies across Onslow, Penzer, New Hanover, and Brunswick counties. Interestingly, those are the 4 counties that we here at the Big Talker Network are most concerned with. It happens to be Onslow, Pender, New Hanover, and Brunswick County. And this dude ripped through all of them. I mean, we should have put a sticker on his car. The Big Talker. Flying through town or whatever. The fatal crash occurred near Navassa in Brunswick County. In addition to second-degree murder, Carr was being held at the Sullivan County Jail on charges of vandalism and tampering with evidence, according to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. Sarver was being held at the jail on charges of auto theft, identity theft, possession of drug paraphernalia, and unlawfully carrying a weapon. And then the third cat came around, and I thought this was pretty funny. All right, so let's have some fun with this one. As we heard from Donna Gregory, 3 men who escaped the Tennessee jail last week, the third inmate, I should say, Johnny Shane Brown, was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night, Thursday night, inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Street. Anybody know where that is? Yeah, surprise. Brown escaped the Tennessee jail with 2 other inmates who were found dead in a car crash. No. They weren't found dead. They wrecked and died while the police were behind them. So, boom. So those 3 bad guys are back where they belong, recapturing the creeps. But the thing is, why did they come here? Right? Is this family, is there like some sort of criminal network between New York, Miami, and Tennessee that they all just come here? And do we have families here just raising these people? Hey, yeah. We got a little murderers university going on here in Wilmington. I mean, is that what they're shot spotter and all that for a tiny little town? But that seems to be our modus operandi. Find that kind of funny. I kind of find it funny. No, who were found dead in a car crash. Okay, they were seen crashing the car because the police were chasing them. It's like when you find somebody dead in a car crash, it's like nobody was around when the crash happened, and then it's like, hey, I found the dead guy in the car. But if you're chasing them, you already know where they are. So it's not like they were found dead, and they weren't exactly killed. But because these guys are such high-functioning Mensa candidates that they're genius to commit any of these crimes to begin with. And the part that gets me, man, now, the dude working at the convenience store, you got to feel bad for this guy, right? He's just sitting there doing his job, midnight, whatever. He comes in, he gets robbed, tied up, beaten, and his car stolen. And while he's talking to the cops, he's like, hey, there's my car. And the cops are like, go get him, boys. Then they ran him down, and of course, it's like, okay, these guys either need to be recaptured, which is, the ultimate best outcome for this scenario. But if they die, yeah. Now, since one of them was already on trial and been convicted, I think it was, let me double check that, for murder, then having, for him to die in the crash is no great loss all the way around. It eliminates a lot of expenses and a lot of problems. Let's see, yep, both of them, Sarver and Tobias, have been jailed on second-degree murder charges. So, you have 2 second-degree murderers fleeing the police after violently robbing a store, tying the guy up. Did he use a weapon? I'm looking to see if he had a weapon. Robbed him at gunpoint. So, 2 murderers who just robbed a store at gunpoint, tied the guy up, stole his car. I think we need to be a little bit more lenient on our officers here, that in a situation like that, I mean, I just saw a chase the other day where the officer was under fire for firing at a guy in a really big truck that couldn't be stopped by normal means, so he just shot the driver. After 40 minutes of chasing this guy and him causing big problems and major damage with his huge truck, and the guy obviously wasn't going to stop. And the officer said, yeah, he's going to stop. Other countries, man, they got helicopters, right? Just like we have helicopters, but their helicopters are armed with, like, really big guns. So if you don't want to stop after the first 5 miles, that's fine. We're going to blow your engine out of the car, and if a bullet hits you, oh well. In a lot of countries, they have much lower crime rates because the punishment for those crimes are incredible and immediate. But there's obviously no deterrent to committing these crimes, which is why, a couple of murderers can, three murderers can escape through the HVAC system, steal a truck, somehow got a gun, rob a store at gunpoint. I mean, wouldn't it be a drag to find out the gun belonged to the clerk and they stole it out of his own car and then held up his store with it? Because it's not like they escaped with a gun. Somewhere along the line, they got their hands on a gun. Then they robbed this guy at gunpoint, showing what wonderful rehabilitated human beings they are. Now, I don't carry a weapon myself. A lot of people do. I think it's fine. I have a friend of mine that's customizing handguns. Perfectly legit. Respect the man. He's, sane. Very good on the target range, but I wouldn't try to carjack him. And I think we're learning that from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh anyway. A lot of carjackings going on just in broad daylight. 14-year-old walking up, smashing a window, ripping a person out of the car at gunpoint and taking their car. And one of them, recently, I think it was a 14 or 15-year-old boy that was shot to death trying to carjack. So, think about it. The deterrent must come. I think it's mind-blowing that the deterrent to crime needs to come from the victims themselves. Because as a society, we are not very well wrapped. At least, doesn't seem like it. Because we're just not getting it. We're just not getting it. And they came here. Like, I can appreciate that North Carolina is a wonderful destination. It's a wonderful place to raise your kids. Unless, of course, you're near 16th and Dock, or 5th and Chestnut, or any of these places where these shot spotters are most active. But they came here, all of them. All three of them were coming to North Carolina. Sneads Ferry and Onslow County, Pender County, New Hanover County, Onslow County, and then dies in Navassa, which almost sounds like he came from the north down through the south to end up in Navassa, right? Because it's kind of hard to come through Onslow County if you're in Tennessee. I mean, you kind of have to go through all those counties and then go back to get to Navassa, which is like on the other side of the river. That's I don't understand. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm not going to lose sleep over it now. I sleep better knowing that Shane Brown, the bad dude, is no longer part of the Wilmington community. Now, of course, if he had managed to make contact with anybody here, those people should be under serious scrutiny. They didn't come here to see me. That's for sure. Show up at my house with a gun. Hey, make me a sandwich. You'd be like, I got your sandwich. I have plenty of content in my kitchen to make sure it's the last sandwich you ever eat. But yeah, they came here. So what's so attractive to the criminal element that they want to migrate to the Wilmington area here in southeastern North Carolina? Is it our wonderful beaches? Is it our affordable parking structure? Or is it the fact that these criminals felt like they're at home with all the criminals that we have in office, running the state of North Carolina into the ground? But it's not all bad. At least not in North Carolina. But for Elon Musk, he had a bad day when the storm that we mentioned earlier, see you soon, the one that I suspect possibly took out the internet here at the Big Talker Network. The 49 satellites launched February 3rd. Preliminary analysis showed the increased drag at the low altitudes prevented the satellites from leaving safe mode to begin orbit-raising maneuvers. And up to 40 of the satellites will re-enter or already have re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. Now, apparently, when the sun throws a fit, and it's not like we have, meteorologists to tell us what's going on with sun storms, solar storms. So when it sends out that mass of stuff into the solar system, it goes away from the sun really, 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 really fast. And then it hits our magnetosphere, which is, what tells us what magnetic north is when you use your compass. I'm trying to remember the term, but the radiation comes out from the sun, it hits the magnetosphere, and then gets energized and neutralized as the aurora borealis and the Australia borealis, and becomes harmless in our atmosphere. However, it makes the atmosphere much more dense. Because while we may not be able to see these particles exist and they have mass. And as such, it's kind of like trying to accelerate in the rain. Suddenly, what you're passing through has mass, and it's now taking more energy to achieve the same results now that you're passing through a mass. And as such, since these little satellites don't have big rockets or engines on them, they were affected, pretty much knocked out. 600 pounds of falling satellites pose no danger to those on the ground since they were designed to break up into tiny pieces upon re-entry. The company also said that the wreckage poses zero collision risk with other satellites. The solar flare occurred on January 30, created a burst that traveled at some 3 million miles per hour until it reached Earth and swatted down 40 satellites like flies. While this is certainly a learning experience for Elon and the SpaceX team, it's cold comfort considering the company reportedly needs to keep launching satellites to keep financially afloat. But we'll cut them a break. After all, who of us hasn't headed out without checking the weather and ended up in a nasty storm? Of course, we don't generally use, tens of millions of dollars when we do. That's coming from the bite from futurism.com. So there's risks in everything that we do. And with those risks, you have to understand that there's quite possibly going to be loss. And in this case, I'm hoping they have some sort of preparation for that, so they know what's going on. Come on, give me my news. Ooh, and here's one. If you have a broken heart, too bad. If your broken heart causes you to spend money, that's your fault. And right now, through February 14th, apparently romance scams are a big deal. The sheriff's department is warning about romance scams, saying never send or forward money to people you meet online and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent 54... Let me read that again. The FTC says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. I can tell you how to avoid that. Just send me $10, and I'll send you a list of ways not to lose your money to people online. No refunds. Just letting you know. So that's a recap of some of the news in the, some of the items in the news in our area. And, we'll see if we can't cover some more when we come back. As soon as I find this thing. There it is. That's right. There it is. We'll be right back on the Big Talker Network, right here in the Asylum. Don't go nowheres. Hop on the Facebook and YouTubes and chatter along with us if you like. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll see you in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The third inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with two other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools in areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s inland of the coast. Coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
If you want to talk about culture and politics without all the caterwauling, then you'll love Hertel Radio with me, your host, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning, 6 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m. right here on the Big Talker. Catch it on the Listen Live tab on the app or watch on the Facebook page.
I'm State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better state. We are one of the fastest growing and most reviewed insurance agencies in Wilmington. That's because our customers love the personalized attention that we give to you. Let us help you get to a better state by visiting our website at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
That's right. Welcome back to the Asylum right here on the Big Talker Network. Kind of scrambling to put things back together since the Starlink train got knocked out of the sky and I lost my internet. That was pretty crazy. But I'm glad we're back. course, when you steal a radio station and operate it pirate style out of your house, you're going to run into some issues. That's fine. One of the best programs we have, a daily running, Heard Tell, which is heard at 6 o'clock in the morning before my show and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Also on the Big Talker Facebook and YouTube pages, channels, whatever they're called. And part of his story was the NFL when Mr. Belichick sent the congratulatory text to the wrong Brian. Oops. And set off a shitstorm that's burning through the NFL right now, and the NFL could care no less. Because think about it, the NFL is going to crush the ratings of the Olympics. Okay? I mean, if I'm reading, if I understood Mr. Donaldson correctly, 25% of our population is going to gamble on the Super Bowl. Boy. So apparently, capitalism, or at least American capitalism, is all about finding ways to make money without earning it. That's why we have these education lotteries that benefit our education system so well, while the CEOs and administrators and such of this bloated bureaucracy make more money than the schools will ever see. But yeah, you just keep telling yourself that warm fuzzy line. Sidney Powell. That's got to be a fun life to live right now. I mean, how can you be that wrong and that convinced of your superiority at the same time? Right? And another thing about being, that messed up is, how is it most of America is suddenly crack experts? I mean, I get it. If you want to hate Biden, there's a lot to hate him for. But this thing with the crack pipes, y'all are stupid. If you are perpetuating that crap and continue to think that it's funny that Biden is giving away crack pipes, you are obviously one of the least informed people on the planet. And probably take your drugs in other forms, like pills that are prescribed to you by a doctor, because you can't make it on your own and can't handle the ups and downs of everyday life, so you have to have some sort of psychotropic. No. See, when trying to save someone's life from themselves, from self-destructive behavior, it's a good idea to start with things like harm reduction. Okay? This is why, for the longest time, it was possible with some community programs to achieve or acquire clean needles that had not been used by another person. This would help slow or, combat the spread of AIDS through and hepatitis through this one form, because it was causing a lot of problems. So with clean needles, because we can't stop them from using, they're going to go buy, they're going to go use. But what we can do is limit the harm reduction. Because if he's dead, we can't help him. But if we can keep him alive long enough to get him into a rehab, to get him into a program, then we win. So the whole idea behind what this harm reduction kit that Biden is talking about, and everybody seems to misunderstand, is no more a crack pipe than a face mask. That's all it is. It's the same type of neoprene or I even have some of that material up here that's used for making molds, and it's magical stuff. It's not bothered by extreme heat, extreme cold. It's great for making candy molds. I can't think of the name of the material at the moment, but it's sort of like a rubberized plastic. Since everybody's already got their own crack pipe, this just goes over the end of the crack pipe so that if you're sharing a crack pipe with somebody, their hepatitis doesn't get in your mouth. But if you think that it's Biden giving away crack pipes, then obviously your Mensa card needs to be removed, needs to be taken away, revoked. Because if you are that stupid to continue to perpetuate that BS, you need to be reprimanded, scolded, educated, and beaten back into, intellectually beaten back into some sense of check your sources, mate. I mean, unless you've actually ever seen a crack pipe or used a crack pipe, making jokes about Biden's crack pipe should like negate you from any job opening, right? So the only thing you can do is pick up trash and wash cars or something. Because I do not want you anywhere near a business, a legitimate business, right? Because obviously you're a crackhead if you are so excited about Biden's free crack pipes. Because that's not what this is about. And if you continue that BS, all you are doing is being a further problem to the entire situation. So, the more you yell about that, the less likely I'm going to be involved in your life. Okay? And if all your friends are thinking that this is funny, just keep in mind, right now, 1 in 10 people are addicted to drugs one way or the other. Whether they're popping pills from mommy's medicine cabinet, or they're smoking crack through a crack pipe with a mouthpiece on it so they don't get hepatitis from the previous user. It's going to happen to you. Just like in the suicide ads we run from the ad council, that he shot himself, but the bullet hit the whole family. Because every person that's involved is affected. And this is true on a number of levels. It's not that a COVID patient dies. It's that the patient dies and the entire family is now devastated, damaged, hurt. Same thing with drug addiction. Every time a drug addict falls away, it's a bomb that goes off inside that family. And it destroys hope, it destroys love, it destroys futures. And if you're going to make jokes about crack pipes, I hope you get addicted. I hope you understand what that pain is like. I hope you find yourself smoking away your family, your car, your friends, your future. And then look at me and laugh about the, hey, can I get my free Biden crack pipe? And I will hand you the mouthpiece. There you go. And well, you can avoid hepatitis and COVID and still smoke your crack. This is where I think the level of education we have in this country is extremely piss poor. Because this is the type of stuff that we continue, that these people don't have the critical thinking or comprehension skills necessary to discern for themselves what the root cause of this problem is and what we are trying to do to help fix it at some level. Harm reduction is not intervention or rehab. All we're trying to do is keep people from dying. Because it's really hard to get somebody into a drug program when they're dead. So, Mr. Happy Crack Pipe Joker over there, when it happens to you, I'm going to laugh at you. How's that? I mean, empathy should be paid forward just like everything else. So if you are apathetic towards the death of a drug addict because of hepatitis transferred on the mouthpiece of a crack pipe, I hope it happens to you. Because obviously, it's not going to be important to you until it happens to you. Much like these anti-vaxxers that have, on their deathbed, they're like, oh my God, I regret this. Yeah, too late. And I should give you the same treatment that you gave everyone else for trying to do the right thing. So, yeah, I think it's pretty amazing that all of America is suddenly crack experts. I mean, that explains a lot. I mean, if suddenly everybody in, if and I haven't seen it yet, but then again, I don't scour the internet looking for representatives and senators and their reactions to this. But if any of them make these same stupid remarks and comments, they should be immediately removed from office because they're not paying attention and they're being little whiny jerks. If you are able to read, and you are able to read what is involved and actually go to the source document rather than the Facebook memes and read what's involved, what's in this safety kit, smoker kit, or whatever it's called, you'll realize that you are being an ignorant bonehead by perpetuating this free crack pipe stuff. And I expect that from the previous owner or the previous morning show guest, because he had that type of mentality. He wasn't able to read much more beyond the headlines. Oh, my God, Biden's giving away crack pipes. But he's not going to look down into the article at all, where he might discover that, hey, no, it's not a crack pipe. It's a mouthpiece for the crack pipe, much like they use when giving CPR to somebody that you don't know. All it does is prevent the transfer of contaminants from that surface to your mouth. So, hey, all you sudden crack experts now know that you can use that silicone, I think is what it is, little mouthpiece that goes over, and you can use it to smoke cigarettes, smoke crack, smoke your future, smoke away your life, smoke away your mortgage, your family. But hey, until it happens to you, it won't matter to you. Otherwise, shut up. Because once this misinformation and silly stupid is out there, there's no way to stop it. So for everybody who's making this crack pipe joke, I hope you have to work with somebody who has contracted hepatitis from a crack pipe and wants to recover and turn their life around. And I hope that person is important to you. Then maybe, because it's important to you now, your mind might, function and realize that, oh my God, this is a problem bigger than the free crack pipe joke. Because the more we joke about it, the more people are going to die. And as long as you think that's funny, we're fine. But until it happens to somebody, to you, important, whether it's you or someone in your family or someone important to you, a mentor or friend, then I bet your attitude changes. You know how I know? I've seen it. People love to rail on the down and out and the drug addicts and the homeless and any number of things. And then when it happens to somebody in their own circle, suddenly they're concerned, suddenly they're empathetic, suddenly drug users aren't bad people, they're just in a bad situation. Then you have drug addicts like Rush Limbaugh, who has finally managed to do 1 year clean. I mean, he's one of the most brutal hypocrites there ever was. I don't give a damn about his success as a radio personality. He was a drug addict while railing and name-calling and berating other drug addicts. And it didn't become important until it happened to him. And even then, the optics of his entire facade had to try and downplay it. Oh, he wasn't a drug addict. He was just popping pills. Okay. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that makes all the difference in the world. But just to, put it out there again, Rush Limbaugh has made a year clean that we know of. I mean, this one is proven. We know he's been clean for a year now. And he's still going to get one of Biden's free crack pipes. And And just think, Rush Limbaugh's going to vote next year. Will somebody stop this? Right? I mean, I'm waiting for Sidney Powell to step in on this. This would be funny. The election was stolen and the crack pipes are free. Hey! I mean, as a lawyer, you're supposed to have some modicum of honesty about you. Right? Because if you write anything on paper, sign your name as a lawyer, and it turns out to be false, they can do things to you. I mean, just as Rudy Giuliani. So as soon as Sidney Powell is stripped of her ability to work as a lawyer, you're going to find her flipping burgers or scamming people, one or the other. We'll see how well that works out. She'll work with the My Pillow guy. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm working with Mike Lindell, and what we've done is we've taken all of Biden's free crack pipes and we're going to change them into, I don't know, something. But we're just not wrapped tight as human beings because we just can't seem to get our together and read through the BS and realize things like, hey, I don't know what a crack pipe looks like because I've never used one. I don't plan to. I don't want to. But I'm pretty sure that the administration at any red, blue, old, new, doesn't matter. When they do something like this, they're not giving away crack pipes for real. What they're trying to do is help people not die who are smoking. Trying to give them a chance to not die so they might find rehabilitation. But I can understand why Andrew is upset about this and spent a good part of his morning talking about it, and it makes sense. And it's infuriating. And for anybody on the social media platform, you need to swat down everybody who makes that crack pipe joke and say, aha, I guess drug addiction is funny to you because it's not important to you. When it becomes important to you, it will matter to you. Then you will bother to do any research. But until then, this is going to be the new play. This is going to be the new internet meme of the year based on a lie, which seems to be the American way of doing things now. Did you kill him? No. Why is the gun in your hand? I don't know. I just found it. But I think it's awesome that suddenly everybody in America is a crack expert, crack pipe smoking expert. And that would explain much more about our country than anything else so far. Because if everybody is a crack expert, that tells me that everybody here is smoking crack. And you obviously know more about crack than about harm reduction. You know more about crack than you do about addiction. You know more about crack pipes than you do about the Constitution. Shut up. Look, it may not be a solution, but it's an attempt. We're trying something, anything, because what we're doing isn't working. And more people are dying from addiction, from cross-contamination and infections from things like COVID, AIDS, hepatitis. And to help alleviate that, to help lower the death score, the death count, the body count from crack smoking boneheads. I mean, they're not the brightest. You know, I'm not saying I have a lot of love for them overall. But at the same time, I don't want them dead. I mean, I want to see them eat, but they're just not going to eat at my table until they clean themselves up and get themselves together and start having values that I can abide by. Simple as that. But I know that there's a high incident rate of hepatitis and other infections as a result of sharing drugs, sharing needles, sharing pipes. And since we don't seem to be doing anything about this drug war that's productive or helpful, then yeah, I think I got a point. So all we're trying to do is help people not die. And if you make crack pipe jokes about it, then I think you should be one of the people that does not survive. You should go ahead and try it. Go ahead, get your free crack pipe, load it up, and see what happens. And when you, the addict, explodes in your family and destroys everything in that family, then maybe it'll be important to you. Then maybe you will understand that your jokes are not helping. I'm sorry, I now get it completely as to why Mr. Donaldson has a hard time discussing this at the same time. Oh my God, you guys are... Whew. Even one of my friends who has had a friend who died from drug addiction and is over here making crack pipe jokes, and it's Biden's son. He's doing it so his son doesn't have to. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, if we ever find ourselves in a crisis, I know who is not on my list of people to work with. But I got to say, it's like fighting the same ignorance that we had over the past couple of elections and administrations, including this one. I'm not saying I love Biden. I don't think he was eligible. I don't think he should have been eligible for office either. But then again, over the last two elections, not one of the 330 million people that was presented as a candidate do I feel was qualified to be there. Not Joe, not Donald, not Hillary. None of those people should have been on the ballot. None of those people should have even been considered by their national committees. I think the solution lies in the apathetic third party. That's where our educated people are. But out of 2 years, they can't take 2 hours to go vote. So keep it up. Keep it up. This is how America gets great again, I guess, right? We take all the misinformation, make jokes about it, and then rile people into the ground with it without realizing that that is the very problem that's causing these issues. So if you are that brilliant and that smart and that ahead of the crack pipe game, then why aren't you solving the problem? That's my question. Simple question. What are you doing? If you're so convinced that it's Hunter Biden's problem or Biden's free crack pipes, then explain to me where you got that information. Show me the source documentation. Show me this free crack pipe. Or shut the hell up. These are my friends. But I don't think much longer will they be my friends. Holy cow. Raising your standard can change your circle, man. That's pretty brutal stuff, man. I need a moment to deal with this, so I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're going to reset the Asylum when we return to the Big Talker Network. Don't go nowhere.
Keeping Ocean Isle informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
Folks, we all know ongoing road construction and traffic can weigh heavy on your vehicle. Since 2006, O'Leary's Automotive Repair has provided comprehensive repair services at affordable prices to get you back on the road in no time. Their ASE certified technicians will help you find a cost-effective repair and maintenance alternatives. O'Leary's has multiple locations in the area in Hampstead, Leland, the Myrtle Grove area, Ogden, and Wrightsboro. O'Leary's Automotive Repair, a trusted, locally owned business since 2006.
Hey everybody, it's time for today's STEM tip. Want to know how to make your selfies even better? Okay, let's use science. The best time for photos is golden hour. That's the moment right before the sun sets, when the atmosphere scatters blue and violet wavelengths, making perfect, soft, and golden selfie light to show off that beautiful face of yours. Click. Check out Chic and STEM for more inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The third inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with two other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools in areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s. Inland of the coast, coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
I'm a construction superintendent working on a new housing project in the area. I've always loved being a part of a construction crew, watching the plans come to life. But I wanted more. I went to CFCC and trained in construction management technology. Now my skills allow me to have the life I once dreamed of. I make great money and can get a job anywhere. I got my start at CFCC, and you can too. Visit cfcc.edu/trades and get started today.
As Wilmington's leader in restorative and regenerative medicine, the Frank Institute specializes in health optimization. Simply put, we use in-depth evaluations and lab testing to determine the best treatments for each patient. So whether you're suffering from an unseen hormonal imbalance or a simple vitamin deficiency, the Frank Institute is ready to get you back to better living. Call us at 910-679-8534 or fill out our symptom survey online at frankinstitute.com. Because at the Frank Institute, you live, we help.
If you want to talk about culture and politics without all the caterwauling, then you'll love Hertel Radio with me, your host, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning, 6 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m. right here on the Big Talker. Catch it on the Listen Live tab on the app or watch on the Facebook page.
That's it, boys and girls. That's your signal. That's your sign. It's time to rise and shine. Face the day. Get your suit on, get your uniform on, get your shoes on. Grab your books, your bag, your purse, your latte, and get going. It is a fanatical, fantastical Friday right here in the Port City area. Southeastern North Carolina, where we hail from. I have to admit, during that break, I had to go back and read the little blurb on Edith to give myself a little sense of hope in the world. Edith, if you recall earlier this week, was the lady who learned how to ski at age 99. A big bucket list item. I didn't get to see the pictures, but I'm sure I will soon. Learned how to ski in Colorado at age 99. They did all kinds of things to make it possible for her to enjoy the slopes. Did her first run. They thought it might be, enough for her. She said, no, I want to go again. A little bumpy, that's fine. Took a second run. I'll do it again. After the third one, she said, okay, I'm good. That's off my bucket list. I have skied. Those are the people that are on the other end of the spectrum from what I'm seeing in the explosion of stupidity on social media right now. And I'm telling you, I had a whole list of things and then it all got blowed up because of Starlink. And that was rather... Oh, okay, yeah. One of the stories was the $4.5 billion Bitcoin hack. Now, I don't have dates accurate on this. Yael assures me that this happened years ago on an unsecured transaction, but I'm still not convinced. I mean, as I understand it, Bitcoin is secure from end to end, so how can you have a Bitcoin transaction that's not secured for somebody to get in and hack away $4.5 billion worth in current value of Bitcoin? Scarier still is that this is supposed to be completely anonymous, and they arrested the guy. Okay, good on them for arresting the guy, better on them for finding it, but Satoshi says, what's his name? Satoshi, whatever his name is, who was the mythological creator of Bitcoin. He should be explaining this, but that's why it's remaining anonymous, because maybe it's not as secure and anonymous as you think it is, as we may believe it to be. That hey, as long as I'm buying heroin and crack and automatic machine guns and mortar launchers or using Bitcoin, they can't find me. Yeah. That was very, very frustrating. To lose my signal this morning But there we are. Oh man, it's really hard not to say something about that. That's just I will say that take two. Yeah, let's use take two. Earlier on the Hertel program from Andrew Donaldson, the managing editor at ordinary-times.com, he had an incredible conversation with Josh Buckhalter. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce his last name right. Buckhalter. Referring to and talking about NFL's race and gambling issues. I think they skipped over a mild issue. One of them is that they are still a nonprofit and pay no taxes. While raking in $54 billion last year, I think it was. I need to recheck that. Get back here. Oh, in 2020, the 32 teams of the NFL generated revenue of $12.2 billion and paid no taxes. Because thinking about it, NFL is a nonprofit. Can you believe that? And here's how a nonprofit can work, is that you set it up as a nonprofit, which is why it's NFL.org. I don't know if you knew that or not. Oh, my internet's fried again. Is that it? Is that what's going on? Hello? Oh, they've changed it. They've changed it around. That's it. Okay, so I have been corrected. And this is something I did not know. Throughout my entire life, the NFL had been a nonprofit. Apparently, I did not know this. It changed. The League Office and Management Council will file returns as taxable entities for the first time since 1942. So for 73 years, 1942 to 2015, I believe. In a memo to the league's ownership groups, Commissioner Roger Goodell at the time announced that the League Office and Membership Council would be ending their tax-exempt status and filing returns as taxable entities for the 2015 fiscal year. Oh, man. The big note in the memo is this. As you know, the effects of the tax-exempt status of the league office have been mischaracterized repeatedly in recent years. The fact that the business of the NFL has never been tax-exempt, every dollar of income generated through television rights fees, licensing agreements, sponsorships, ticket sales, and other means is earned by the 32 clubs and is taxable there. This will remain the case even when the league office and management council file returns as taxable entities. And the change in filing status will make no material difference to our business. As a result, the committee decided to eliminate this distraction. The NFL has operated as an unincorporated nonprofit 501c6 corporation since 1942, or unincorporated entity since 1942, with the league office not subject to tax because it does not make a profit. Instead, income was distributed to each of the league's 32 teams who were taxed on it themselves. The NFL considered itself a trade association made up of and financed by its 32 member teams due to this structure. Ending the tax-exempt status will likely have very little monetary effect on the league itself, especially because the NFL is sure to make some structural changes to limit the tax liability of the league office in reaction to the change. You hear that? The NFL is sure to make some structural changes to limit the tax liability. A parallel here in Wilmington, North Carolina, is somebody is going to donate a bunch of land to the Community Violence Action Plan to build a grocery store. So this person whoever owns the land that's being donated is making a structural change to limit the tax liability. Andrew Delaney, a sports law expert with Martin & Associates, said if it became a for-profit entity, the NFL would likely find enough write-offs to offset the savings it would lose along with its tax-exempt status. When MLB made the switch from a nonprofit, they reported that there was no real change in their tax liability, he said. If I were running the NFL show, I'd say this isn't worth it. It's not worth the PR hit it takes. It is telling that Goodell referred to the league's tax-exempt status as a distraction, which indicates that the league office was more concerned with the optics and media reaction to it remaining tax-exempt than with the actual effects of no longer being an untaxed entity. Because it will no longer operate as a tax-exempt entity, the NFL will no longer be required to publicly disclose the commissioner's salary. Goodell, at the time, $44 million salary became a point of public contention as the league dealt with various scandals throughout the last year. The league could still elect to disclose his salary in future years, but that seems rather unlikely. So, that lays bare much of the tricks that many people do to not pay taxes. Because if you can limit your tax liability, then it reduces the amount of taxes the IRS is actually expecting. And if you're a multi-million-dollar mega corporation that had been operating under the ORG format for 1 billion years, again, just like the North Carolina education lottery, as long as you're not making a profit. Okay, I'm not making a profit, but I doubled my salary. So we still only have $1,000 left to pay out to the winners, but I had to double my salary because otherwise we would have to, give that money away, and we can't give that money away. I earned that. Education doesn't need that. I need a doubled salary. I need a $44 million salary because I'm that important. So I'm glad that the NFL is no longer a nonprofit, because that was just insulting to the rest of us. But I think they still need to clarify a number of things, but I don't care. Personally, I don't care. That was the last thing I cared about the NFL. And I can't believe that I'm 7 years behind. I mean, that's how much I paid attention to them. Because they had been tax exempt my entire existence. So, yeah, they let that one go by rather quietly unless you're an NFL guy, and I'm not an NFL guy. I don't think I'm going to be betting on the NFL game, the Super Bowl. As I've heard it before, to me, a Super Bowl is a toilet that cleans itself. That's a Super Bowl right there. And, of course, when I was more active in advertising and media, the Super Bowl parties that we had were not about the game. It was about the ads. It was about the future and the status of where advertising is. And one of the coolest things I think ever happened to NFL advertising, Super Bowl advertising, was when Doritos started culling their spots from a fan base. Because these fan film spots being made for Doritos were just brilliant. And think about it, it eliminates a lot of hassle from Doritos. They just, hey, we're going to hold a contest, and the best spot that you produce wins. So they don't spend any money on production. They don't spend any time on scheduling or any of that, or message or packaging or any of that. They just let their fans make it. Hey, look, that was a free spot. You win $500, and you get to run your spot on the Super Bowl. I mean, that was a brilliant move on their part. They save a boatload of money. They get a great spot. They get great interaction with their customers. And they don't have to deal with the logistics of creating a spot, whether writing it, storyboarding it, shooting it, editing it, producing it, color correcting. None of that. They just threw it out there. Hey, we're having a contest. The best spot wins and gets run in the Super Bowl. You get a lifetime supply of our bagged poison with a logo. And a couple $100 or a couple thousand or whatever it was. I don't know. Because keep in mind, these guys normally spend like millions, plural, millions of dollars for the one spot to run on the Super Bowl ad. And these guys went the other way. They were like, we're going to do the whole thing for $1,000, right? We're going to have a contest. People are going to send in their spots. The only thing we're going to have to pay for is the airtime. And they had already bought that last year, right? So they already know they have a spot or two in the Super Bowl. Then they just needed a spot to put in there. But instead of building and paying and creating and writing and all the stuff necessary to make a spot, they realized that they had a number of fans and customers that were very much interested in being, hey, I can make a spot for Doritos. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Man, it's hard to stay off of some of these subjects because it keeps coming up. And it's like, y'all have lost your damn mind. But it explains a lot about our country, right? Because we seem to have a lack of understanding of, self-proclaimed experts who have no idea how addiction works or how crack works. But hey, you just go on with your bad self that way because apparently you got all the answers. You got it right. You got the plan. You got it, Stan. You got it, man. You're made. You're set. I didn't get to finish. I'm sorry. Somebody just sent me a note. So the conversation this morning on Heard Tell was discussing the imbalance in the NFL structure of black versus white and the Rooney Rule, which is basically a formality that they have to at least interview non-white coaches for a job. And Belichick really screwed the NFL on this one. I mean, it's surprising that anybody is, this. You talk about a lame duck at the NFL, your boy might as well retire now because ain't nobody liking him for what he just did. He thought he was texting the white dude to congratulate him on his new position as head coach at New York, only to discover he had sent it to the other Brian on his list, the black guy, who was also, he was going into, he hadn't even interviewed yet. If I understand the story correctly, he was like on his way to the interview when the brilliance of Bill Belichick decided to congratulate him on a job he hadn't even interviewed for. Oops. And that's where we get into the problem of understanding the term of systemic racism. This is something that Andrew and I briefly discussed yesterday. It has turned out this way that a majority of the players are black and the majority of the administration and coaching is white. Now, it didn't necessarily happen by accident, but it wasn't necessarily intentional. I don't have a skin in the game. I have no depth of understanding to this. But when you look at the entire layout, right? If you just blur the faces and just keep the skin tones and lay them all out there as in who's on the field in uniform, who's on the sidelines, who's in the coaching, who's in the administration, who's in the ownership, who's in the referees. Man. But it's also present in our government. For example, the conversation yesterday about, I think it was yesterday, about staffers and aides that it's impossible to work these jobs unless you already have money or a family that can help support you, because you're not going to make enough money to live on, which I find absolutely mind-blowing for the amount of money that the government is hoovering through. I mean, apparently, at the end of the line, right, because money comes into the feds give it all to their little departments, and their departments give it to their departments, and somehow, along the way, the Air Force, part of the DOD, has decided to give Boom Supersonic $60 million. Now, if the Air Force had any sense, if anybody had any sense along the way, they would have not given the $60 million that's going to get pissed away. They would not have given it to the Air Force. They would not have given it to the DOD. They would have, in fact, used it to increase the salaries and opportunities for the people on the Hill. The staffers, the aides, the people doing the work, the people answering the phone. Because, I mean, the more I hear about it, the less the actual elected representative seems to do. He relies on an army of people to do stuff for him, the typing, the reading, the research. So they usually, and this makes sense, because when I have seen the talking political heads on TV, they don't seem to be as aware of these issues as the people that have done the research, like the host of the show that have these guests on there. So it's these aides and staffers that are doing all the work. They're the ones who are really aware of what's going on. They're the ones who have an understanding of the issue, because they've done the work. They've done the research. And they can't even feed themselves or pay the rent. Now, part of it is because the housing issue in D.C. is worse than anything Wilmington can dream up. But that's because you have a captive audience. This is why when you go to the airport, the package of gum costs $3 and a soda costs $5. Where are you going to go? You are captive. You cannot leave. If you leave, you have to go through all this mess to get back in. So it's not like you can head over to the McDonald's and get a $1 burger. You're stuck at the McDonald's inside the airport, and that $1 burger on the street is now a $4 burger, $5 burger in the airport. I remember when I was young, flying with my brother to see Grandma, and she'd slip a 20 in my pocket. And, of course, I'm like 7 years old. What am I, $20 to me is I had the world by the tail. Until I walked in to buy, my first comic book. And, of course, the comic book is 75 cents. But in the airport, it's $3.50. Because it's a captive audience. Same in D.C. If you're working in government, you need to be in D.C. Therefore, you are captive. And to live and work in D.C. is going to be stupid expensive. This is what it means to capitalize on a situation. And yes, that is the same capital that is the base word for capitalism. And we have taken capitalism to a whole new level. We will kill people to profit from them, which is why we have been prescribing opioids and other addictive chemicals through prescriptions, through legitimate means, to the tune of billions of dollars, which is why pharma, big pharma, has so many lobbying entities that it's impossible, at least for me, to assess all the money that they throw into lobbying and political action committees. And I bet there's going to be a lot of them at the heart, or the same group of people, that at the heart of this misinformation campaign to get everyone all upset and bent out of shape that Biden's giving away free crack pipes, hoping that not one of them is going to, read and understand that, no, what we're doing is harm reduction. And even to the people that are my own friends, if this is one of your jokes, stop talking to me. I've seen it. I was at a gas station not a month ago or so, and a dude at right next to my car died of an overdose. His car was still running. He was at the gas station getting ready to pump gas. His car ran out of gas as I'm standing there, and I looked at his car like, dude, your car is, wait. Not only is the car dead, excuse me, miss clerk lady at the counter, you're going to need to call an ambulance. Then a couple of other people come in. Oh, my God, I don't know what to do. They just lost their minds because they had encountered something they'd never encountered before. And it's like, slow your roll, baby. This is your first ride. Yeah, you hang on. You must be young. Because going forward, you're going to see a lot more of this. This is not the first dead guy I've seen from drug overdose. And it doesn't get easier, right? It really doesn't. Because you're looking at this kid. This kid was, 22, 23 years old, maybe 25 on the outside. And for whatever reason, the drugs were more important than his life. And if you're at that point, then you're just sucking on a crack pipe and do not care if you get hepatitis or AIDS or overdose. But everybody else who wants you not to die and give you an opportunity to recover and possibly lead a productive life, we're just trying to help you not die. So the solution, as best we can work out right now, because it's not like you can rationalize with a crackhead, hey, smoking crack is dangerous. If you're going to smoke crack and share a pipe, we should use some sort of barrier so that you don't contract hepatitis from the person you're smoking with. Because we can't stop them. Nothing we've done is effective to that. But we can certainly level off the mortality if we can educate them just enough to say, hey, if you put this little silicone thing over the mouthpiece of whatever crack pipe you're using already, we can help lower your risk for hepatitis and AIDS and COVID and whatever else they're doing this for. But it's aggravating. Oh my gosh, is it aggravating that people I know, people I respected, have a whole different take on this, and they think it's funny. I hope you never have to pick your child up off the ground. If you have any better ideas, I would love to hear them. 910-444-0281 is our call-in line. If you have a better solution, bring it forward. Just take a look at it, see if we can't change this. More from the Asylum on the Big Talk Road Network right after these messages.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The third inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with two other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools in areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s inland of the coast. Coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
If you want to talk about culture and politics without all the caterwauling, then you'll love Heard Tell Radio with me, your host, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning, 6 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m. right here on the Big Talker. Catch it on the Listen Live tab on the app or watch on the Facebook page.
The Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association serves as the advocate for the building industry, advancing professionalism and promoting community involvement. We are a positive force for responsible growth while protecting property rights and the privilege of home ownership. 3 out of every 5 jobs is touched in some manner by construction in our region. Growth generates jobs, maintains our property values, and builds and updates our infrastructure. Join us Friday mornings for the Construction Connection with the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association and the Big Talker FM.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Asylum here on the Big Talker Network. Big changes, big plans, big options and opportunities. And I got to admit, it's pretty surprising. I mean, I'm the last guy. I'm at the end of the chain, right? My job is to make sure that everything works as best I can with what I have to work with. What I like is that we have smart people behind the scenes now, working with me, working actually in front of me, I guess it would be the term, because I'm not very good at building a website. But the Big Talker Network website at bigtalker.live is getting revamped, and hopefully we'll have all of our URLs tied together, so no matter which Big Talker URL link you are used to using, it will all go to the bigtalker.live. We'll have new schedule, new content, new arrangements, hosts, guests, programs, information, news, sources, and the app may be expanding to include other channels, because we have the Big Talker channel station thing on the app right now. Might be able to get 3 or 4 more on there, so that y'all would have your choice when out and about in the public place, that you can listen to any number of the channels, stations provided by the Big Talker Network for you to enjoy on your travels. And what's cool is you're not limited to FM reception in small patch of grass in southeastern North Carolina. You can now engage, interact, and participate with the Big Talker anywhere on the planet. But we're not going to go national. We are here in North Carolina. We are concerned with what's happening in North Carolina. but we can look to the rest of the country to see how other communities have handled issues that face their communities. And as we have pointed out before, we can find polar opposites less than 500 miles apart or so. What is the distance? Come on, computer, wake up. Oh, goodness. Well, I've been updated. Then again, I don't go out there often. So the distance from Seattle, Washington to Los Angeles, California is a distance of 1,140 miles. Now, Seattle and Washington, both on the left coast. Seattle and Washington, both coastal, if you will. I mean, they're both on the coast, right? I mean, they both have ports. They both have access to, but it's not like anybody going to Seattle to sunbathe. But the two of them, I mean, for a 5-year period from 2015 to 2020, it is possible to directly compare the Low Income Housing Institute in Seattle, Washington's effectiveness on homelessness and the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority's ineffectiveness. Now, Wilmington doesn't have a huge homeless community, but as our population grows, so will that community, the homelessness. That problem will be a little bit bigger, will be more of a problem. So as we see this issue developing in our own community, I thought it would be a pretty good idea to look at other communities to see if there aren't other approaches. How have other cities dealt with homelessness? And they couldn't be any further apart in their approach, funding, concept, effectiveness, metrics, everything. Starting with Los Angeles, Homelessness Services Authority, right? Authority means power. Their budget of $800 million has shown an effective transition from homelessness to permanent housing at around 4%, while the administrative salaries have bloated over 400%. And then just north of there by 1,140 miles is the Low Income Housing Institute, utilizing tiny home villages to effect a 50% successful transition from homelessness to permanent housing. We should do this at the federal level, the state level, county level, community level. That whenever a situation pops up, instead of 500 people pouncing on it and yelling at each other as to whose fault it is, there should be some goob, idiot guy like me that's sitting there going, wait. This doesn't smell right. Let's see if this problem hasn't occurred somewhere else and what has been done to rectify it or address that issue in those communities and see what worked and what didn't. Wow, what an idea. And there are a lot of problems facing, a lot of issues. I mean, you can't call them problems. If you call them problems, they become a negatively connotated bad thing. But issues are opportunities. Really. I mean, any issue that has come up in your life, certainly in my life, has always been an opportunity to adapt and overcome. And some of those adaptations have been more difficult than others. I'll admit that. And that's going to be true for everything in your life. However, if you have the willingness and the interest, and it's actually important to you, you can do something about it. So, to shift over to something that is important to me and us here at the Big Talker, some of the things we will be developing is an educational series of videos and promotions to help people make the transition themselves from the archaic FM transmission to receiving the Big Talker online through the app that you can take with you, pair it to your phone, and you can drive from here to Seattle, Washington, or Los Angeles if you're going to the Super Bowl, and not miss a single bit of content. Because you can pair your phone with your car, whether with the auxiliary cord or Bluetooth or whatever, and you can use your cellular data to receive the Big Talker content from the app, and that way you can take the Big Talker with you anywhere. And maybe even compare and contrast some of the issues of North Carolina with where you are. So maybe you're a friend of the former Lend with Ben program we were hosting, and you're living in Kentucky, but you're still concerned, you're still interested in the issues here in southeastern North Carolina. And most specifically, the 4 counties of Brunswick, New Hanover, Pender, and Onslow counties. And, of course, the state of North Carolina, the nation in general, and, of course, the world at large. Because this is where we live. This is our home. And I think that we should look proactively at solving issues that are facing the community now. Some of them involve drug addiction. Some of them involve homelessness. Some of them involve employment. But they all involve us. So finding those solutions should be our highest priority. Finding ways to minimize the impact of the negative, of what's happening to our infrastructure. We talk about the Memorial Bridge, the Isabella Stellings Holmes Bridge. According to the North Carolina Department of Transportation, they are responsible for inspecting, repairing, and maintaining about 13,500 bridges. Ooh. I like this guy. ARTBA, American Road and Transportation Builders Association, National Bridge Inventory, North Carolina. Check this out. Apparently the DOT's numbers are a little weird, and I didn't quite understand them, which is why I looked elsewhere. Of the 18,877 bridges in the state of North Carolina, 1,325 of them are deficient. Yeah, 7%. Out of 20,000 bridges, a little over, almost 20,000 bridges, almost 1,300 of them are structurally deficient. This means one of the key elements is in poor or worse condition. Now, thankfully, this is down from 1,800 bridges classified as structurally deficient in 2017. I don't have a date on this one. Why don't I have a date on this one? The deck area of structurally deficient bridges accounts for 5.8% of total deck area on all structures. 34 of the structurally deficient bridges are on the interstate highway system. A total of 90.7% of the structurally deficient bridges are not on the national highway system, which includes the interstate and other key roads linking major airports, ports, rail, and truck terminals. 2,467 bridges are posted for load, which may restrict the size and weight of vehicles crossing them. The state has identified needed repairs on 5,534 bridges at an estimated cost of $3.5 billion. This compares to 6,311 bridges that needed work in 2017. That was 5 years ago. I'm currently, and these numbers are from 2021. So of the 18,877 bridges in 2021, 1,325 of them were found to be deficient. 34 are on the interstates. Bridges in need of repair, including structurally deficient, we're about 5,500 or so. So we have a number to target, an estimated cost of $3.5 billion to repair the 5,534 bridges. We ranked number 11 in the list of structurally deficient bridges in North Carolina. Last year, we were number 6. So obviously, we're making pretty good progress to drop 5 levels in the list of structurally deficient. The worst offender in the nation is Iowa. Our neighbors include Ohio with 1,334 bridges and Nebraska with 1,280 bridges structurally deficient. So we did something right. But at a cost of $3.5 billion. So if we're going to look at our budget and we were going to look at going forward as a state, then we should make a very robust infrastructure for our visitors, our residents, taxpayers. And it gives me hope on the other side of the brain stem for me, that the businesses in Carolina Beach turned to the city council and said, "Hey, can we stop the parking off season?" But I don't think that's the correct way to do it. I really don't. To try and lighten the load on the workers that are, cutting the salads and cleaning the plates and washing the floors. I think we need some sort of program that allows the hourly workers, the people doing the work, to be allowed to park. Whether it's a park and shuttle arrangement like they do with the larger malls, parking structure, whatever it is, there should be an option available for the people working there. And not just because it's one business or another, whether they're working in a retail store selling flip-flops and beach towels, or they're in a restaurant slinging drinks and seafood. There should be some sort of option for them to be able to park and work. I mean, even if you had it on the other side of the bridge, how's that for an option? Kind of like a park and ride. If you work on the island and you have a little work ID on the island card, then you can park at the parking lot on the other side of the bridge. I mean, they have one where that abandoned, even if you were to go onto the island, on the, towards the north end, because there's 2 roads, right? One takes you to the lower deck, one takes you to the north end. And as you approach on the north side of the loop and go that route, I don't know the name of the street, there's an old gas station thingy there and a whole bunch of parking that's I never see being used. And you got a bunch of teenagers making $7 an hour or $10 an hour or whatever it is that they are making 241 if you're waiting tables. They could park there. And then you could shuttle them with a nifty little van. Almost like a bus ride, that park and ride. You park here, and then you can drop them off at the the North End or Johnny Mercer's or the South End, wherever it is they're working. Maybe you have two. One for the South End and one for the North End. And then people, and this is just Wrightsville Beach. I don't know how well Carolina Beach is laid out. I do remember just on the north end of Carolina Beach, just south of the Snowscut Bridge, I believe there's an abandoned shopping mall plaza thing on the left-hand side. And just imagine, how many island hopping golf cart services and shuttles are there on the island for drunk tourists? Well, maybe we could set one up for the people working there. Hey, park and ride. So instead of spending $7 an hour to park, and instead of your car being in a prime parking spot for hours on end, we can put all of the employees parking in one area and keep it safe, keep it, patrolled. And then you shuttle the people to, stops that are near where they work. And that way they can save money on parking. We can still maximize the amount of parking money we make on the spaces that are there. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. And if you think you can't afford it, think about it. Curry Beach in 1 year generated over $700,000. So you could have parking all year round and still have an option, a program that helps the little guys. And it could be so easily done, right? Like, no matter what car you have, you just take your little employee parking pass and throw it up on the dashboard. And then the guy who's securing the network, securing the parking lot and checking up on everything, he comes around with a little barcode, boop, and checks your ID. And, that way they have a record that your car is there and utilizing this service. And if they, do the little boop of your card and it turns out that you were fired, they come and tow your stuff. And the side advantage to that, as rough as it is or as beneficial as it is that maybe on their day off they can park out of the way for free. They may not be able to use the shuttle with all the beach gear they got. Depending. You could work something out for that because, I think they should be allowed to enjoy the beach as well on their time off. Kind of like a professional courtesy. I'm helping you with your tourists on this beach as much as I am helping myself with these tourists on this beach. And now that it is my day off, I would like to be a civilian on the beach. But since I'm making the minimum wage or whatever it is, I'm on the lower end of this socioeconomic. I'm not a landowner. I'm just coming out here and to enjoy the waves with my family. And I work out here, so I should be able to enjoy this. It's kind of like being able to see a movie when you work at the movie theater. So that would be a really easy, everybody's hip to barcode scanners and all the computer tech that we have. It's right there. We can print QR codes all day long. And all it would take is one little boop to find out if a person is legitimately employed on the island or not, and if their parking is valid. And it actually helps them because now they can get to and from their car safely. Because when we're leaving, bartenders and especially, women working in nightclubs and bars, that at 3 o'clock in the morning, men are generally not the most sober, rational human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. And if there's any group of people that experiences a high rate of violent assault at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning when the clubs close, it's going to be women. And just like in the big shopping malls, right? When you work Christmas at the shopping mall, at the end of your gig, you get into the little shuttle and they shuttle you out to your car and they wait until you are safely in your car. We can fix this. We can make this better all the way around. We can still generate a boatload of cash. We could double what Curry Beach made in the first year if we were to make some sort of option available for the people working there to not hemorrhage cash in exchange for the job, because that's what you're charging them to work. These people are being charged, the salad choppers and the prep cooks and the dishwashers. Everybody working on that island is being charged for the privilege to work on that island. And that is completely asinine. If you want good workers on the beach, you need to treat your workers as if they are valuable. And one of the ways you can do that is not charge them to park. Give them a program where they can get to and from their car, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody around them is absolutely hammered and violent and dangerous. Because you can imagine when you're coming out of Christmas, out of the mall after working, a long day, and you're having to, whatever it is, run to the bank and drop stuff off. Some of these managers were carrying lots of cash. And they were escorted to and from the building, into the shuttle to the car, from the car. You're on your own. But at least you were safe and accounted for while on the property. And it doesn't cost much. It doesn't cost much at all. Curry Beach, Carolina Beach, they already have infrastructure for enforcing the parking regulations and rules and costs, etc. And they already have security forces, both public and private. So it's not too much of a stretch to open this program up, which in turn opens up even more prime parking. You want to charge $6, $7 an hour for parking? Have at it. But don't charge the guy that's just, you're charging half of his salary, half of his hourly rate just to park his car. You are taxing him. You are charging him for the privilege of working. And we can fix that. Just an idea. If you have a better idea, please call in 910-444-0281. And as you can tell, we are heading into a break. The Asylum will continue right here on the Big Talker Network.
Keeping Charlotte informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
One Love Tennis started in 2013 to give back to young boys and girls. We now go through 460 kids a week that are learning about life skills, learning to succeed in life through academics and tennis. Putting those two together, if you do them well, you can write your own ticket. To get involved in this program, go to our website, one-love-tennis.org.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The third inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with 2 other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools in areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s inland of the coast. Coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Hey everyone, Ben Hawkins here with Cross Country Mortgage. Rates are still at historic lows, and there has never been a better time to purchase your dream home or refinance your existing. With over 300 loan products including conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, and jumbo, we are certain we have the right loan product for you and your family. Call me today to be pre-qualified to make the offer on your next dream home. 910-352-3373 or visit my website at lendwithben.com.
Tune in to the WWAY News at 6 p.m.
Thank you for joining us tonight for your news at 6. I'm Hannah Patrick.
I'm Randy Aldridge. We want to get straight to our WWAY team coverage of last night.
For the biggest and most compelling stories that make a difference.
On the scene shortly after the blaze began and has the story now.
Cleveland is one of the fastest growing towns in the country.
First court appearance this morning in Pender County.
WWAY News at 6 p.m. This is the place.
If you want to talk about culture and politics without all the caterwauling, then you'll love Hertel Radio with me, your host, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning, 6 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m. right here on the Big Talker. Catch it on the Listen Live tab on the app or watch on the Facebook page.
Oh, that's me. Okay, yeah, hey. Yeah, we're back on the Asylum. Everything seems to still be working. That's definitely a bonus. And if you're not up and out and moving by now, sorry, the world has already passed you by. You're going to be stuck with the cold vanilla latte leftovers. And it's all absolutely crazy. Gas is over $3 a gallon, getting to $4 a gallon in some places. People skipping around, getting mad. Everybody talking crack pipes and stupid. Let's have a little fun with some of the other headlines around the nation. Shall we? Yeah, let's turn to Idaho. And what's Idaho? They have the Spud State, right? The Idaho Potato Commission has released a limited edition potato perfume. I'm just doing headlines. I mean, just let that one sink in. The Idaho Potato Commission has released their limited edition potato perfume. I don't know if it smells like vodka or a potato or what, but that's just, Good on you, Potato Commission. In New Jersey, 2 letters arrive at a home 75 years after being mailed. And you thought your Amazon Prime order was a little behind. Boy, can you imagine, hey, look, it's Grandma. I sent you a birthday check 75 years ago. That's pretty brutal. 75 years. Whew. Again, these are just the headlines. I'll let y'all look into it. Ohio DJs. Now, then again, here we are in Ohio. This is one of those interesting vertexes of activity in our nation. But Ohio DJs break Guinness record with 25-hour, 35-minute interview. I don't know what kind of narcissist they had on the air for 25 hours, 25 and a half hours. But man, he had he probably read his entire biography on air. An 8-year-old author's book becomes a hit at the Idaho Library. Maybe he paired up with the perfume and had it like a dual sale. You buy a book, get perfume, or buy perfume and get a book. I don't know. Ooh, this is awesome. And I think I'd need to read this one. 2 days ago, this was posted by UPI, written by Ben Hooper. This is good. A zoo hires Marvin Gaye impersonator to get monkeys in the mood. The Trentham Monkey Forest in Stafford, England, said David Largy, an experienced Marvin Gaye impersonator, performed selections from the Soul Legends catalog, including Let's Get It On and Sexual Healing inside the Barbary macaque habitat. We thought it could be a creative word, or I'm reading ahead. We thought it could be a creative way to encourage our females to show a little affection to males that might not have been so lucky in love. Park Director Matt Lobat said on the zoo's website, females in season mate with several males, so paternity among our furry residents is never known. Each birth is vital to the species, with Barbary macaques being classified as endangered. Love it. Said zookeepers expect to discover whether the visit had any effect on the monkeys when the birthing season arrives in late spring or early summer. So for those of you who don't think the dream can be achieved, you too can sing to monkeys to help them mate. But maybe the macaques weren't into the R&B soul catalog. Maybe they needed some, bang your head. Maybe that was more effective. That would have been awesome. But still, to hire a Marvin Gaye impersonator to get your monkeys banging is just hilarious. A Florida man magnet fishing with grandson reels in 2 sniper rifles. Well, that's handy. Just think about it. All you need is a magnet and a rope, and you control the bottom of a lake or a river or any body of water, and just haul up your next month's rent, or in this case, a felony. I think that's very, very telling. I mean, because sniper rifles are not cheap, and for someone to toss it in a lake means that it had done what it was meant to do and had been tossed to the side, much like an old NASA rocket. And here comes this guy who's going to find it. They're probably going to, clean it up, find the serial number, investigate some crimes, boom. Oh, here's a quick one. An Ohio mayor is concerned ice shanties could lead to prostitution. The mayor of an upscale city outside Cleveland is making headlines again for a remark at a recent city council meeting that allowing ice fishing shanties on a city lake could lead to prostitution. If you're ice fishing, being a cold fish is not going to be a surprise. Russian gallery says guard added eyes to avant-garde work. This is awesome. This is coming out of Moscow. A Russian gallery says one of its security guards has vandalized an avant-garde painting on loan from the country's top art repository by drawing eyes on the picture's deliberately featureless faces. In Russia, painting paint you. Massachusetts game show winner gets trip to New Hampshire. A Massachusetts contestant on The Price is Right was hoping to win a getaway to some tropical locale during a recent appearance on the game show. Instead, he won a trip to neighboring New Hampshire. Get away from it all. Go 4 miles that way, turn left, and... Man upset over Canada's mask mandates threatens the wrong Ottawa. This happened yesterday. Ottawa, Ohio. A man who wanted to join the protest in Canada's capital over mask mandates called in a bomb threat so police would waste their time chasing it. But he called the wrong Ottawa. He called a village in Ohio. Whoops. Bet they find him pretty quick. Well, Snowbird Kitty. Lost cat heads home to Maine from Florida. Coming out of Portland, Maine, a Maine family that long ago gave up on a lost family cat is being reunited more than 6 years and 1,500 miles later. Denise Silly of Chesterville said she was shocked to get a voicemail last week announcing her cat, Ashes, had been located in Florida. A personal favorite of mine is this is just a great collection out of the AP News Wire. Man claims to be sovereign citizen charged in Czech case. A southeastern Michigan man, this is coming out of Lansing, who prosecutors said claimed to be a sovereign citizen of the United States, has been charged after sending 3 $1 million checks to the state to pay his taxes. Missouri firefighters out of Maryland Heights, Missouri, they were training on a frozen lake and rescued teens. A training session on water rescuers turned real for firefighters in suburban St. Louis when the crews sprang into action to save 2 teenagers. Yeah, whoops. Oh, here's a theft. Here's a story on a theft. I mean, these guys had to be either brave or very well prepared. Coming out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, 60,000 bees stolen from a grocery company's pollinator field. Yes, nearly 60,000 bees have been stolen from a grocery store company's field in Pennsylvania, the company said. The bees were said to be stolen in Carlisle between January 28th and January it got cut off. Stop it. And January 30th, so over 2 days. We are extremely disappointed that this happened and are continuing to cooperate with Middlesex Township Police Department. In 2021, beekeepers in the state reported a loss of 41% of their populations, which was less than the national average loss of 45 or so bees between April and 2020 and 2021. The nationwide loss of bee population is causing serious concerns with the agricultural industry and environmentalists because about 1/3 of the United States food supply relies on bees to pollinate the plants. So stealing 60,000 of them, man, that's Anybody familiar with the Iditarod? Well, a couple of days ago, a moose attacks Iditarod rookie's sled team, injuring 4 dogs. A large bull moose spent more than an hour stomping on the sled dog team of a rookie Iditarod musher in the wilds of Alaska last week, and the attack didn't end even after Bridgeport Watkins emptied her gun into the animal. She said on Facebook Friday that the moose, after seriously injuring 4 of her dogs, wouldn't leave, and that the ordeal stopped only after she called friends for help, and one showed up with a high-powered rifle and killed the moose with 1 shot. This has been the most horrific past 24 hours of my life, she posted after Thursday moose attack. But just a day later, her 4 dogs are on the mend, and she's back to training with the others. This isn't what I was planning for, but these dogs and myself have trained for so long and so hard for this race. When I walk back out to my dog yard and I have 12 perfectly healthy dogs out of the 16, and they look at me and all they want to do is run, how can I tell them no? That bull moose was definitely the bully moose of the mountain. I'm really glad those dogs made it. Come on, iPad. Try that again. $60,000 bees. Can you imagine? Uh-oh. Don't tell me it happened again. Nope, it's only on this one. All right. Apparently my news feed is staggering or stuttering at the moment. Yeah, let's try this again because I need more data. Oops, wrong network. Behind the scenes, by the way, when there's one person running everything, gets a little, heavy-handed. But I'm not here to hide from that. I'm here to let you know what's happening as it happens. I mean, if you're not familiar with stream of consciousness, here's your chance. You get to learn more about it as we go along. And, of course, this $5 keyboard. Ah! I don't even think I have internet right now. So if you're listening to my voice, everything is wonderful. Everything is groovy. But obviously this thing is dead. So enough of that. We're just going to take a break, and I'll be right back, hopefully with a reset connection. And I'll actually have some more material to work with. But otherwise, yeah, it's just a really fun little, That's right. We're going to shoot right back to the Asylum right here on the Big Talker Online. No. Don't go nowhere while we get this fixed.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The 3rd inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with 2 other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools and areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s inland of the coast. Coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
I'm an HVAC technician, summer's most popular person. To say my job is stable is an understatement. Every home has an air conditioning and heating unit, so I will always be needed. The best part? I make great money in a career I love. I went to CFCC and got hands-on practical training and quickly got a job. Knowing I will always have a good paying job means a lot to me. I got my start at CFCC and you can too. Make it happen. Make it CFCC. Visit cfcc.edu/HVAC and get started today.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Asylum right here on the Big Talker Network. We're going to have a little fun with Friday as we finish out the show, finish out the hour. And we're going to have some fun with Florida Man. If you don't mind. I don't. Florida man steals car, train sends it crashing into house. And this one just keeps on giving. Coming out of the Associated Press, Port St. Lucie, Florida. A Florida man says he jumped from a stolen car seconds before it was hit by a train and sent flying into a nearby home. The sleeping residents were unharmed and the man was later arrested, authorities said. Police said the man claimed he stole the car in a good faith effort, quote unquote, to search for his own vehicle after leaving a bar early Saturday in Martin County, around 50 miles north of West Palm Beach. Instead, he got stuck on the railroad tracks in the path of an oncoming train. After the crash, the man tried to steal a forklift from a nearby fruit stand, which he also vandalized just because. The Martin County Sheriff's Office said in a statement he was arrested after flagging down responding deputies, quote, to let them know he was still looking for his car, unquote. The homeowners were fine, but, quote, the explosive sound of a driverless car smashing into the side of our home was clearly jolting. Imagine that. The 38-year-old idiot is facing charges of grand theft and criminal mischief for vandalizing a fruit store, stealing a car. I mean, if you're looking for your car, vandalizing the fruit stand is not going to help your argument. Right? I get stealing the forklift because you're going to go find your car and it's probably, somewhere you don't want it. Probably doesn't have the keys. You're going to have to forklift it out of there. But instead, he's going to steal the car in good faith. I just need to borrow your car. I mean, what is this? Some sort of Die Hard movie? Florida, man. If ever we're facing too much here in North Carolina, all we got to do is look to Florida and instantly we feel better. I'm not sure I even understand this one. This is how crazy Florida's gotten. Florida home to be sold in novel, non-fungible token deal. A home along Florida's Gulf Coast will be auctioned off in the upcoming week as a non-fungible token in what is believed to be among the first such transactions in the U.S. So that's what the F stands for in NFTs. I thought it stood for something completely different. Whoops. The NFTs, so the house is being auctioned as an NFT. Uses a version of the encryption technology employed to secure cryptocurrencies to create one-of-a-kind digital objects. The technology provides digital creations, a kind of certificate of authenticity, allowing ownership of something that could otherwise be replicated endlessly. In the case of the 4-bedroom home in Gulfport, Florida, a California-based real estate technology company, Proppy, will mint the property rights into a digital token and host an online auction with bids starting at $650,000. Oh, dude, this paragraph explains a lot. Minting property rights into an NFT would allow owners to sell a home as quickly as a Venmo transaction. According to Leslie Alessandra, the home's current owner. Christopher Vasilakis, a local real estate and virtual reality expert, he's not an agent, describes such a transaction as essentially just selling a company and a company owns that house. There could also be challenges given the volatility of cryptocurrency, and it's not yet clear if the value of the house tied to an NFT would be affected by the crypto market. That does leave quite a bit open for interpretation, doesn't it? But now we know what the F stands for. Hattiesburg, Mississippi has a pretty stinky, something's rotten in Hattiesburg. Residents say a mysterious smell, one that has lingered for months in the past years, is back in downtown Hattiesburg. The Hattiesburg American reports that its source is unknown. Could it be that the politicians are meeting? Sorry. I don't know if we can get any weirder. I mean, we already have Punxsutawney Phil, and man, makes my eyeballs hurt. And being Friday, obviously, I am really distracted because, we're going to have some decent weather temperatures today. It's going to be not as nice as it was yesterday, or maybe it is. I don't know. It's going to get up in the 60s, partly cloudy. I mean, that open the garage door, sweep out the dead spiders, maybe a few living ones. Because then, we are cohabitating the big talker with the spiders and bugs in my garage. Of course, everything is well up off the ground. And the house that we're in now sits 3 feet higher than the house that we were last in. So we've not been flooded yet. That's a good sign. But that doesn't mean the risk is over. There we go. So I'm going to see if I can't get this other situation resolved and see if I can't get one of the guests that I had asked about, get him on the show. And if this works, we'll have a guest right here in just a few minutes to let you know that it's... No, that's not it. Yeah, it's not that time. I can't do that. I can't do that to him. I can't do this. Yeah. I'm going to be a nice guy and just say we will be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Donna Gregory with WWAY News. The third inmate who escaped a Tennessee jail last week has been arrested in Wilmington. Police say 50-year-old Johnny Shane Brown was taken into custody without incident around 9 o'clock last night inside an apartment near 16th and Dock Streets. Brown escaped a Tennessee jail with 2 other inmates who were found dead in a car crash in Brunswick County over the weekend. A home in Bladen County is a total loss this morning after a fire yesterday afternoon. Crews from 3 counties and the state's Forest Service fought the flames at the house in Bladenboro. A woman and her dog were in the home. Both got out safely. Bladen County Emergency Management says the fire appears to have started outside. Several structures in the yard also burned. State health leaders have released an updated set of safety guidelines for public schools. One section that remains the same from January's toolkit update is masking to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. Administrators still urge all students and staff in schools in areas of high or substantial transmission to wear masks indoors. And with Valentine's Day in a matter of days, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is warning about romance scams. The department says never send or forward money to people you meet online, and use a reverse image search to check profile pictures. The Federal Trade Commission says people sent $547 million to romance scammers last year. For more on these stories, head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Donna Gregory. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. We have beautiful weather to look forward to once again on this Friday, expecting mostly sunny skies and temperatures above the average. We're going to jump into the low 70s. Inland of the coast, coastal areas will top off in the middle 60s later this afternoon. And heading into the overnight hours, we hold on to the quiet weather with mostly clear skies and temperatures falling down into the low to middle 40s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
I'm an HVAC technician, summer's most popular person. To say my job is stable is an understatement. Every home has an air conditioning and heating unit, so I will always be needed. The best part? I make great money in a career I love. I went to CFCC and got hands-on practical training and quickly got a job. Knowing I will always have a good-paying job means a lot to me. I got my start at CFCC and you can too. Make it happen. Make it CFCC. Visit cfcc.edu/HVAC and get started today.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
And we're back on the Asylum here on the Big Talker Network. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and let others know so that we can grow in this new frontier, this new medium. And the more we grow, the better our content and productions will be, including getting a morning guy who knows what he's doing. I know many of you would appreciate that. But as my parting conversation shot on this Friday, the February 11th, a quote from George Carlin. Somebody sent me to sort of remind me that people are listening and that what I do can make a difference or at least has an impact. The quote is, have you ever noticed that the only metaphor we have in our public discourse for solving problems is to declare war on it? We have a war on crime, the war on cancer, the war on drugs, but did you ever notice that we have no war on homelessness? You know why? Because there's no money in that problem. No money to be made off the homeless. If you can find a solution to homelessness where the corporations and politicians can make a few $1 million each, you will see the streets of America begin to clear up pretty damn quick. He's not wrong. In fact, if everybody were to head over to the Low Income Housing Institute's website, lihi.org, 7 letters, 1 dot, lihi.org, lihi.org, and you will see that they have managed to make a profitable arrangement out of this. It takes some help, it takes some partnerships, it takes some volunteers, it takes some effort and energy and an interest from the community itself. But it's interesting, he's right. We got a war on drugs, a war on crime, the war on cancer. And none of them have worked out other than to make other people money and commissions to make money and lots of money to go hemorrhaged out of the government. War is not really the right way to handle anything, right? I mean, war has never really been a positive thing. Hey, that was a good war. I mean, the fact that a war would happen, has happened, will happen, is a breakdown in our social values and communication. Conquering another rather than working with them is indicative of this type of human behavior. I don't want to buy it, I want to take it. It's the foundation of the American criminal system. But the taking is not limited to anything like items, shoes. It could be your life. It could be your, being attacked because you're attractive to the person. I mean, we are some sick people. So in addressing something like homelessness, a war wouldn't really be effective. I mean, all you would end up with is dead people like you do in a real war. But I think Lehi's approach of homes first, get them somewhere where they can park their shopping cart, where they can take a shower so that when they go to work, they're clean. They even help them get to work. I mean, over 50% successful transition from homelessness to permanent housing. And they solve a number of other problems along the way because people seem to equate homelessness with mental health problems and drug users. And, well, guess what? If you get them off the street and into a place where they have access to these resources, access to mental care, access to caseworkers that can help them find jobs and training, and they have access to a shower, and they have access to laundry facilities and access to decent food, you can do a lot more to affect the homelessness population than bringing donuts and coffee every morning at 6 o'clock. In North Carolina, at least in the areas that seem to be affected by this homelessness issue, are surrounded by million-dollar condos and high-rises and fancy apartments. But not 3 blocks away, gunshots ring out on 5th and Chestnut, where the socioeconomic divide could not be any more stark in contrast. But that's how we're doing it. That's our low-income housing option. And I'm thinking we're going about this all wrong. All wrong. This is a solution that has a problem, this is an issue with a proven solution that already exists. And what's cool is that they're still going. Since 1991, the Lehigh organization is continuing its work. The Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority, which is probably the model that North Carolina is going to adopt, has been wholly ineffective. The only thing out of their $800 million budget to increase every year is the amount of money being paid in the salaries. Less than 4% effective transition from homelessness to permanent housing. It's not a problem for us yet, but it's getting there. It's going to be. I mean, anybody who works downtown and has to go anywhere near that park at the library, we avoid it now. It used to be a beautiful park. Now it's just a shithole because these guys are given coffee and donuts and whatever else, and they just trash the place. There's 5 trash cans on that one block, and for some reason, they can't seem to find it. There's no accountability because they don't care. And that needs to change. And the way you change that is you hold them to account. Yes, you can have your own home, your own little tiny home here in the village. But if you trash the place, we throw you out. You want to have a shower? You want to have an opportunity to pick up the pieces and move on? Then you need to be a decent freaking human being. And all it takes is just not trashing the place. Let's start there. I mean, they're providing the soap and the shampoo and the shower. Just go take a bath, for Christ's sake. Let's start there. Here's a toothbrush. We will teach you from the beginning, like a 3-year-old, on how to tie your shoes, how to brush your teeth, how to button your pants, tuck in your shirt, get you a job of some sort, so you can start making money, save up what you need to get into a permanent housing. We have caseworkers on site to help you access the resources you need to succeed in your restarted journey. I mean, we reboot Spider-Man, 3 times, 4 times? We can help reboot somebody's life. Instead of waging war against it or throwing $60 million at the Community Violence Action Plan, let's try something that's effective. Because if you remove that which requires these people to commit crimes, if you remove that element that requires people to feel a need to do drugs to escape whatever it is, then we start fixing the problem inherently. And the problem starts fixing itself, and it becomes a self-sustaining cycle. Like developing a good habit. And this is one of the things that's happening in Seattle. Again, they've been doing this since 1991. That's, 30 years now. And here's how I mean that it's self-sustaining and such. The people that were homeless at the beginning of the community and have now transitioned into permanent housing and have work and jobs and stuff have gone back and volunteered not only to help build tiny houses and to help the homeless and to help develop these communities and ideas, but to encourage and to communicate and to let these people know you're not alone and it's not impossible. You're not at the end of the rope. You're not against the wall. Here's how you take advantage of these resources. This is how you can succeed. And this guy knows because he's been there. And he doesn't go back because he's asked. He's not going back because he's paid. He's going back because it's important. And that seems to be the crux of the issue for the general population, is that it's not important to them. They can just dehumanize them and call them homeless bums or, drug addicts or junkies or, crazy people. And that dismisses them from any responsibility of empathy because they are no longer a human to them. They have been dehumanized. Once you dehumanize a person, you can do anything you want to them. I mean, just look at how we handled everything in war previously. That's how we win wars. We dehumanize the foe so that we can kill them with impunity to make ourselves feel better so we can sleep well at night. And that's sort of how we handle our homeless population and our veteran homeless population. And of the smaller percentage of homelessness overall who are veterans, many of them are boned right now because they cannot get the help they need through the VA. Because the VA had closed its services for over 2 years. Didn't tell anybody. So a lot of the processes that have to happen behind the scenes for a veteran to receive their benefits and get the help they need, in Andrew's case, who had many facilitators, many proponents, many strings upon which he could tug, took 6 years. So 6 years of homelessness for a veteran to get the help they need would be brutal. I mean, that could be life-ruining. But if they at least had a safe place to sleep where they're not going to get robbed, if these homeless women and children had a place to be that weren't, open to violent attacks and sexual assaults, then already we've eliminated a great population of or opportunities for crime, violent crime, personal crime, etc. So this solution has many, many benefits to it. And again, with all the resources being made available more directly to the homeless, including but not limited to drug addiction counseling, 12-step programs, case management, mental health workers, resource management, the ability to eat and bathe and sleep in peace and comfort. It solves so many problems with so little involvement. Certainly a lot less than $800 million a year that the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority, has been hemorrhaging. And the other thing to compare, if you were to look at the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority and compare it to the Lehigh.org, another thing you'll notice is the transparency. Lehigh tells you where their money came from and where it went. Who's got it, who gets paid what, and what is happening. What their developments are, what their projects are, everything. If you go to the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority website, you get a lot of, this is what we're doing and these are our programs, but there's no financial information. Absolutely nothing to tell you that they got it right. That should bother us. Transparency and accountability are two of the biggest things that would really fix a lot of what's going on in government. So when 1,300 jobs don't appear after promising them for 4 years, the only recourse we have is to not elect this person back into office. But he serves no consequence for the actions and decisions that he made. And that is part of being freedom. Part of being free in America. Part of your freedom is that you are open and free to do what you want, but you are not free from the consequences. Maybe these consequences have led to homelessness, but if they aren't criminal, because if they were criminal and we throw the guy in jail, he's no longer homeless. He's fed, he's in a bunk, he's fine. But if he's not a criminal and his life was just crushed by a bad decision, or like many of us, all it takes is an ambulance ride and you're going to be bankrupt. You're going to be broke, paying for one car accident. Because the insurance company sure as heck doesn't care about you. They're going to do everything they can to not deny your claim, whether it was your fault or somebody else's. So, if a person's life has been destroyed by something like that, it would be hard to encourage them, and it would be hard for them to rebuild on their own without some sort of support, encouragement program, something to help them. And maybe they just burned out on life and fell apart. And now they're tired of being homeless, and here's an opportunity. It may not be a CEO of a world bank, but we can at least get you working so you're earning money so you can have your own place to live. You take it from there. At least you're given an opportunity that puts you onto something of a stable ground, not necessarily level ground, but at least when you go to your interview, you aren't pushing a shopping cart to get there. And if you also peruse the Lehigh website, you'll notice how many of the partnerships involve like thrift stores and clothing stores and places to help people get dressed so they can go do these interviews, so they can get hired, so that they have something to wear to work. And I'm betting for less than the cost of the grocery store to be built on the north side of downtown Louisville or Wilmington. With less than that, that's a $2 million over 2-year period. With that same budget, we could pretty much eliminate the homelessness issue here in southeastern North Carolina. If you think I'm wrong, please let me know. 910-444-0281. I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying. I have some options. I'm looking. I'm researching it. If all you got are burnt out memes on crack pipes, then you're obviously not ready for the big boy conversations. You're not ready to be an adult in America, which by extension should preclude you from the ability to vote. For the rest of us, the apathetic third party who just can't seem to get their butt off the couch for an hour or two every 2 years. The people who actually read this stuff and throw rock, and aren't, I should say, throwing rocks. Exacerbating the misinformation. These are the people I want to talk to. These are the people who can make a difference. These are the people with enough brain power to say, you know what? I see the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority program, and I see the Lehigh program out of Seattle, Washington. And of these two models, I think I would like to take the Lehigh model home with me. But we need more people doing that. We need more powerful people, like the business leaders in Carolina Beach who said, hey, this parking thing's a little too much on the off season. Can we look at either dropping it or, and I'm saying, why drop it? Why not come up with a better solution that helps the people who need the help and still gets the revenue from the people we're trying to get the revenue from? Give the employees a parking identification that allows them to park and ride to work. This leaves your parking at the beach for your tourists, the people we are trying to fleece. And they can park more in the prime spots, right? And the workers who are making $6-7 an hour can park for free securely. Their car is safe and they are safe. They are shuttled to their car. They are shuttled to their work. And there's, someone on account that, hey, your car is safe. It's in our parking lot. There's a guy patrolling the parking lot. He's already, boop, your little parking tag, and you're good to go. Shouldn't cost you a dime. Shouldn't cost $100 or $225. Shouldn't cost a damn thing. The parking structure, environment, or frame, or whatever you want to call it, generates plenty of money. I don't think it is going to cost $700,000 to incorporate a plan that would help the people working there. And it would give you the ability to raise the parking rates so that your tourists are now paying $6, $7, $8, $10, $12 an hour. And it doesn't hurt the people who are working for $7, $10, $15 an hour. Win-win. And it keeps your workforce safe. And it also demonstrates to your workforce that you value them, that they are important to the tourist industry that is Southeast North Carolina. The businesses still have decent work. The city still makes an insane amount of money. The safety of the employees working in the industry are secured because they will be driven away from the club at night, and they don't have to worry about drunk people trying to follow them home because they are in their car and locked before the shuttle leaves. Simple as that. So maybe we're not as exciting as the old Big Talker, or at least the old morning program on the Big Talker. But I'm tired of hearing the name calling and the rhetorics and stuff. I'm an engineer. I fix things. I'm a tech. I like to see things work properly and work efficiently and do what they were designed to do and do them well. I'm not here to make fun of people, make fun of their stupid decisions and stupid actions, but certainly to help those that are trying their best to make things happen in the first place. So the poor kid, 16-year-old out of high school, whatever, is, helping rent paddle boards to save up some money so he has something for college or maybe something for the summer, go on a vacation, whatever reason. But he's not paying half of his salary just to park his damn car while he's working. And it's a half measure to just say, yeah, let's not charge parking during the off season because nobody benefits from that, except for the respite that these hourly workers get for not having to pay for the 3 months. But once the season comes back in, they're not getting a raise to pay for their parking. They're boned. They're on their own. But a program like the one that I'm suggesting would be safer for the employees. It shows that you value them. You can still generate an insane amount of revenue on the parking rates. You increase employment for the community because you will need a couple of additional people to patrol the parking lot and drive the shuttle. It could even be an LP gas shuttle, or it could be a Tesla shuttle, electric shuttle. Whatever. The point is, you're actually making an effort to help the people lowest on the ladder succeed. And that's all I'm asking. Give us some options. Give us some opportunities. Show us, maybe I don't have the right answer. Maybe I screwed something up along the way. But I'm coming up with ideas. I'm looking at other places and seeing what they do. And that's one of the things that's done in some of these, like the shopping malls. The employees get parking that does not cost them at all. And in the times when they cannot park near the building, and high traffic, like, during the holidays, there's a shuttle service with security to make sure that at the end of the day, when you finish your shift, or any time during the day, when you finish your shift and head to your car, that's, quarter mile away from the shopping mall, that is not a problem. You are safe, you are valued, and we want to see you again. Because we care about you right here on The Big Talker. And thoughts like this are obviously crazy and revolutionary, which is why they have put us in the asylum. If you were ever wondering how we got that name, it's not just because we're crazy, but because we seem crazy to the people who are doing insane things. And all of those insane things can be chased and tracked down to the money. Because it is all about the Benjamins. Speaking of which, as our final point of information here on The Big Talker, we still have this wonderful stacking washer-dryer, Frigidaire washer-dryer for sale. Come and get it. Any money you give us for it goes straight into the Big Talker Network as a donation to help us stay on the air and help keep these conversations going. Maybe not mine, but all the good ones. Like the Heard Tell radio program, or Consumer Choice, which is about to follow us right here on The Big Talker. Oops. Yeah, keep that guitar going. Here we are.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug.